It will be Superman and Net removed, Elsu Sephora, GeO this time, the team removing the powerful characters.
Superman's very interesting here, and it looks like it's geared towards Lycan, who has played an amazing Superman in the past. Interestingly enough, always in game 2.
Consistent pattern coming through. Perhaps Richter will be removed as well. This means Florentino ought to really honestly be this final ban. GeO, don't do anything crazy. Thank you.
There you go. Look at that. All according to TJ's master plan. Florentino is
Now
banned
pick
away.
Grak.
INTZ.
First pick Grak.
Okay.
Second pick's all right.
Yeah, if they first pick Grak here, this is when you know that INTZ, as well as the rest of Latin America, have gone off their rocker. But they are making sure to take it down all the way. And look at what we have. It's going to be an immediate first pick.
Okay, that is so much weirder than a first pick Grak. That is...
It's very similar to Grak, though, because you hook him in, you get...
No, that is blasphemy. Stop.
What do you... It's the same thing.
You asked for more aggression. Hold up. I'm going to keep moving. You asked for more aggression. Baldum is just aggressive Grak. Changed my mind.
Well, you want to talk about aggression, you've got the aggression of the Baldum, and more importantly, the control of the Liliana, making sure that GeO Esports gets comfort in the mid lane. Now it's going to be back to what looks like the winning strategy that won them game number 1. The Wonder Woman is going to be locked in a last-second swap over to the Talanis.
If we get a Raz here, I genuinely do think that GeO Esports have things locked down. Because they'll have the angry tree boy to take the front line. Once he's scooped people up, you need to have the potential to follow through. The reason INTZ were hovering the Raz, the reason they may still lock it in, is because they were scared of what happens once you're pulled in. They're building their composition around the fact, the inevitability that the Baldum is going to be pulling them out of position.
I will say, though, that GeO Esports is at least going with a more balanced composition now. You've got the Zephys to help them out. You've got the Joker to kick on the backline. And now, again, working with what works, the Preda is locked in for INTZ, but now trade out the frontliner. Roxy is going to be the pickup.
I love the Zephys and Joker here from GeO because they're dealing with a standard Fortress composition. They need the Zephys to get in the backline. They need the Joker to deal with Telenos in lane. GeO have started to figure out how to counter INTZ here.
Oh!
Oh!
Yeah,
oh,
no, that's a shock noise.
It's the Zuka!
I like it, though. Nice.
Did you liken it?
Nope.
I'm sorry.
So the ability of the Baldum to scoop the front lines
so good.
is very good because they have the follow-up. The Zephys, the Zuka are two burst damage characters, also the Joker, also the Liliana. It's almost like this composition is once again built around the ability to pull people in. Unlike last game, though, the Grak doesn't need to be positioned back in the team fights to do it. Instead, they've got a Baldum who can play very aggressively and start fights with his wild charge.
I will say that there is difficulty with GeO Esports if they're not capable of executing in the early game. Yes, they do have the bonus of a Zephys and the aggression that he provides in those early levels. However, Joker, Zuka does not do well, even Liliana in some instances, if they do find themselves at a deficit. So they need to make sure that they come out even in this early game, and with what you see from INTZ, it's going to be a tall task.
I think a lot of this comes down to whether Zephys, Joker, and Zuka can get to the targets they want to get to. Because if they start focusing all of their damage on the front lines, then that's a recipe for disaster. Can they find out the stationary Preda, the somewhat stationary Telenos, and get to them? If they can, they win the game. If they don't, if they're shut off, or if their damage comes to the front line, it's not going to be as happy. I
think I'm going to push it. I'm going to agree and go one step further. I think that Zuka has to win his side lane. He needs to win the 1v1s and get ahead to a point where he has the gold advantage and the items to be able to do what we love to see, and the bop, bop, bop with the 1, 2, 3 and a dead character.
I think it's entirely dependent on them getting to the Preda and the Telenos.
Yes.
Those two backline characters are going to have their abilities to stay alive versus dive tested to the limit.
Well, you can hear the sounds. The battle horn has been rung, or more unless it's been blown, because that's what you do to a horn. Game number 2 of the first match for Latin America has begun, and already a fight breaks out.
Fusion in trouble, needs to get to safety. Medinho will keep him safe with that eagle eye, zoning back the rest of GeO.
How many times have we seen a hero go right into the bushes only to get scooped up by a Baldum? TJ, when will they learn?
You can't play forward versus the Baldum. Elwind is on both my favorite characters today.
He's just appealing to just you.
Oh, yes! No, he's appealing to Horus as well. Hey, come over here, bud.
Hello?
It's safe.
What are you talking?
We got scoops.
Okay,
Scoops and
That's
scoops of ice cream.
That's what you're talking about.
Yep.
This is a major matchup, though. We've seen this matchup a lot between the Joker and Telenos. So that's something to keep in mind, because if Smith gets even a little bit ahead of Mudinho in that farm, it's going to be bad times.
Yeah. We talked about Lycan having to win his lane. Do you think that's necessarily true? Can we see this work from behind?
It's already not working, and that's an issue, because he needs to dominate in the early game.
Mixer J will flicker back after he's chased into the front lines. I feel Mina into Grak the Grak wins, or Mina, yes, but also Mina.
Oh, sorry, Mina into. I thought you were talking about the top lane. Sorry, my bad.
I feel Mina into Baldum. The Baldum wins because the Mina is so dependent on positioning. Fusion doesn't have that positioning right now as he's pulling out of jungle.
So if L1 pulls or scoops the Wonder Woman Fusion, then that could be problematic for their team, because he can go in with the Bracelets of Submission. If he pulls Mixer J, he can also go for the Dark Dominion. It depends on who he's pulling him into, and if his team is in position to take advantage, but not get sucked in.
Lycan's going to rotate through mid, clearing wave while the rest of the team goes forward. Mixer J is going to be the player scooped out of position. Smith will brawl. The Abyssal goes to white. That frees up the rest of GeO to focus through the damage. They've got Mixer J. They've got Patari under threat as well. And he's scooped back into the midst of the whole team. And they do execute him. GeO up 2 kills and an Abyssal.
Disaster for INTZ. This is what happens, CJ, when you contest an Abyssal and you lose. The other side immediately has their ultimates up. You do not, and they kill you. This is not what we saw from INTZ in the first game. It looks like they're repeating their pattern, TJ, of having great game 1s and lackluster game 2s.
Already, the number one thing I'm noticing is they're all grouped up.
Yeah.
They're LATAMing.
Yes, why? Go back. Do what you learned, INTZ, please. You don't need to fight them. It's not necessary.
Because they're all grouped up, there's a 3-man core currently operating up top. They're not taking the advantage of the fact that GeO are doing exactly the same thing that lost them game 1. GeO, again, are very grouped up, very focused on taking team fights, but there's no one from INTZ countering that by split lane.
Right, and GeO has amazing team fight potential, so I really don't want INTZ for them to take these fights that are presented to them.
In a straight-up team fight battle, GeO probably wins, and we'll get an example of that as Mixer J again is pulled forward and again executed.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to take these fights and continue to win these fights.
White! Medinho, you're in trouble. He will fight the stuns, but it's a double kill to Mankey as he rolls through with his second blinding light kill.
And like I was mentioning, if they continue to take this gold lead, they're going to be able to continue to fight these fights and take them.
Bot lane tower will come under threat. GeO actually step a little bit too forward, and Smith eats a tower shot. Fusion will be here now for the wave clear. Minor mistake cost them an opportunity to take tower.
So the funny thing about Mina in that sort of situation, I know that's a Wonder Woman, but you can go in and you can pop the Dark Dominion, force them to attack you, and then you force the tower to attack them.
White, that was rough.
Hi.
White pisses his death throw above, and Mixer J survives. Now Fusion can come through. Doesn't cost GeO quite as much as it might have, but a little bit of a fumble there from the Zephyrs.
Yeah, very well could have been a big pickup there from INTZ, but they don't want to take these fights down 2,000 gold.
Watch out for this double poke here. GeO and Mankey, or Smith and Mankey, might be able to steal it if they're not careful. Oh, the stun. That was nice. Medinho double stunning the players lingering for the poke, just so there's no chance to steal.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're trying to take objectives like that, you want to make sure the other side is occupied, and from long distance, Medinho makes it happen.
Lycan is beginning to win his lane, though. That was a win condition you identified. Elwind will join the rest of the team, zoning the team back, now going with Wild Charge. Fusion iframes it beautifully, using a good bracelet. I'm not sure that'll let him survive. Smith misses the rocket, though. Him and Medinho will both make it out.
That is a win for INTZ if they do not lose that tower coming up with this next wave, because it was a 3v4. They have farm on the rest of the map.
They might still lose the tower. Wise in mid is up for a loss as well, but he will be pulled in. The Axis Grasp lands, and he's still got the survivability. He'll stay up. Tower down bottom does go to GeO.
Right, that's the farm that he has in his name to make sure that happens, but he can't continue to do that or else INTZ will come back.
The scoop comes through. Elwin setting up Fusion for disaster. He'll get free this time, even walking away with a mic buff. But GeO Esports are still pressing the enemy jungle, and they've got Padaria. No, he survives the Death's Flurry.
Padaria has a lot of gold to his name. He has 3,000. That's more than the side of Mini's players on GeO. So if he continues to be a nuisance,
Lycan can't chase through the wildfire. He's got to play around the side, but Padaria, surely you're lingering a bit long.
Oh,
Nice play
Are you
done!
kidding?
He
Are you
lands the Agnes
kidding?
grasp. Mengi has to dive for the tower to get what is now a trade. And Mixer J almost punishes him for it. The Agnes grasp, it's so good.
What am I witnessing here?
You're witnessing Elwind caught out in the jungle, again pulled back. That means it's a GeO Esports 1 team fight.
Oh my goodness, he thought they couldn't take team fights, but they certainly can. And oh my goodness, GeO, what have you wrought upon yourselves?
A lot of trouble.
Oh my goodness.
That was sloppy from GeO.
At the same time, though, GeO are starting to macro.
Yeah, Lycan will get caught out, forcing this macro to come through. Mengi actually isolated as well in the bot lane. Here's the 2v2 you were referencing, but INTZ have the players to defend it. Medinho will flicker back as White gets close. It's a double kill up top to INTZ.
Oh, Medinho.
Medinho just ditches Padaria.
Yeah.
Bye. Have
Medinho,
fun.
he flickered away. He just didn't want any more of it. There were no more cooldowns on White. I know the cooldowns are very short, but he could have taken that.
Elwin needs to figure out if he can hold top tower. He can't. It'll go down. White will be able to get wave pushed and the kill, but not tower down bottom.
We've reached full LATAM, I feel like, because INTZ somehow is able to take team fights. GeO starting to macro. I don't know what's happening.
But the weird team fights are happening in multiple lanes.
That's nice. That is good. It's not a full 5v5. Let's see what happens and ask questions later.
Yeah, this is definitely a step up for overall regional play, though I do agree INTZ do seem to have taken a step back from the last game.
Right, but if Padaria can continue to force members into his lane, that will be a huge boon to their side. They just need to make sure that Medinho shoots while he's there.
I just realized the Abyssal Dragon is like a sword stuck in his back.
There's lots of swords going into his bag all the time. We talked about a couple swords earlier.
That's metal.
Yeah.
Lycan will be caught out. Good stun through. He'll go down. Now Mangi's through with damage as well. That's a great wild prison. The flicker has to come through Paharis just to survive. Elwind might live off of it, but there's nobody else fighting with him. They leave them all alone. And again, he'll fall because of it.
Yeah, he used an early wild charge in that fight, which means he was completely out of position. And the fact that INTZ was able to dodge that wild prison was amazing for them.
Oh, Mangi bullied out, can't get the Abyssal. Now he'll be chased down even by Fusion.
Oh my goodness, I was looking at Mengi the entire time. I was just stopped in my tracks in my speech. I was like, is he really doing this, DJ? Looks like he really was, but he got out.
He might not get out from this one though. Fusion, how are you doing that much damage? He's got the stun. He'll lasso in Smith. He'll keep chasing him for a double kill. White, you've done great. Here's your reward. He's pulled in a triple kill to Fusion.
Who is the superior DC character now? Says Fusion, goes in and unleashes onto Smith. Beautiful play from him. And finally, INTZ are getting what they have worked for this entire game, the towers.
INTZ managed 2 towers. They managed the team fights. They've come online.
Look at this. Padaria is just soloing the Darkslayer. What is this man?
Lycan's got vision.
Does he dare?
Oh, yes, he does. This is LATAM. You never asked that. Never mind.
He saw a team fight. He found a team fight.
Oh, yeah. Fusion in trouble. He did get an opening kill. Medinho did fall. Lycan can't chase Fusion, though, because Essence of the Wind protects him, but Mixer J's pulled back. That's a very good wild charge from Elwind. Smith gets Mixer J. That's a good opening.
That all said, the Skyfall was absolutely ridiculous, so the fact they got away with 3 members is actually good for them.
Oh, Padaria scooped up. Don't link around to bold him, because he'll bada bing, bada boom you.
Trying to grasp with the Agnes, but Agnes got scooped.
Denied now. INTZ, despite getting the Darkslayer, will have to work to make that Drake happen.
I really want GeO to go immediately for the enraged Abyssal here. We're going on 10 minutes exactly.
They're not grouped up for it.
Yeah, they aren't. They're not getting anything done.
Here they go. White, Mangi are nearby. They will grab that enraged Abyssal as soon as it pops up. Do they have the clear time? No, because Padaria's back soon. Near full strength, INTZ is starting to linger towards them, and they've only got the Abyssal down to about a quarter HP now. Mixer J goes in, stunned up, contesting, is not able to steal it, but he's made the fight last long enough. Lycan's barely able to survive, and White's in a lot of trouble. He will flicker away from the stun, but Fusion chases him down and locks down the enemy jungler.
INTZ didn't know to go in or not. They didn't know how many members were there, but then Mixer J walked up, strolled up, said, hello, there's only 3 of you.
And they've managed to summon the Drake in the meantime. With that kill they found and the recall they forced on Lycan, this means they'll get at least one tower. That tower came in mid, Drake's in top, and it will be a threat shortly.
And only 4 members of GeO have that buff to their side as well, so it's hard for them to take team fights properly.
Lycan goes in versus Padaria. Lots of damage found. They're shut down, but the tower still falls.
Can they get more towers out of this? So that is the question, because otherwise Padaria's death is meaningless.
Smith has to bail in mid. It's 2 towers, not bad at all.
Right, they get the 2 towers. Can they get the high gun towers? That will decide if INTZ can get a very significant lead that could push them to the end of this game. Otherwise, we're back to square one.
Fusion have to back off now, or INTZ rather, have to back off with Fusion because they've seen enough GeO members on the board with the loss of Padaria. They don't dare go forward.
Oh, GeO dares go forward, though.
Elwind, considering leading the fight, thinks better of it when he sees the flank from Horus.
And INTZ, I think all they need to do is defend until they get all 5 members back, which they have, and then they can start to fight.
Lycan's just chilling here. He's waiting for someone to linger a little bit too long near him. He figures there's got to be a Horus somewhere.
Look at Manga and White. This is a formation that they want to have. They want the teamfight to happen there, and then Lycan can come from the backside and get either Medina or Horus.
So if Elwind can find an initiation here, the Panda can swoop in from the backside.
Right, and he's not budging. He's going to stay there as long as he's deemed necessary.
And this is just because of the positioning. Normally this would be a terrible strategy because you're losing so much from one player being isolated and not finding control. But one good Panda ult can change a fight.
Right, but INTZ are the wiser here because they're not letting them themselves get caught up in a team fight. They're not getting near some of these dangerous bushes. They're just clearing the waves.
Refusing to engage. Staying wary of spiky shrubbery.
There could be a panda under there, you never know.
They're not endangered anymore. That was recent. Good news.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mixer Dang will chase all of GeO back behind their tower. Now that buff's worn off and it will allow INTZ to keep pushing forward. Padaria, though, finds himself caught out. Do they have the damage to finish him off quickly? They wild charge him in. There's the unpredictable full damage burst. It is enough, but in the meantime, the tower will be threatened. No. Smith, you can't clear in time. Elwind's there, though. Wild prison. It almost catches Horus. Fusion's caught out. He'll try brawl. Good stun in. Smith just needs to bail. White's caught out as well. He'll barely make it to safety. One more kill comes out in the meantime as Horus is isolated. GeO hold their towers and find the kills.
What a bizarre team fight. INTZ was pushing out of the tower. Seemed like they were dead, but it seemed like a bait because they were sucking him in, getting the Plague Spectre off to multiple members, and then after that, the massive Shining Light comes out and annihilates Horus from just miles away. What a ridiculous team fight that was.
It works out somehow in GeO's favor. They'll try and take some towers off of it. White focuses down the top lane. Fusion considers an engage. Elwind misses the wild charge, though.
Yeah, that's huge. That makes him so vulnerable because that cooldown is pretty high even in this late game.
Lycan's back in the spiky bush.
Moutinho's vulnerable. Oh, Moutinho, oh no.
Lycan says hello and grabs a kill. Will he get out? Rolling pad to Chariot and the flicker. That tower's gone. White re-engages though. He'll take the brawl from the front line. There isn't enough players here to make this happen, but Horus goes. Padaria gets a double kill. Fusion a lasso back in the escaping White though, making it an even trade.
Fusion is doing so much for his team. The lasso is speaking all of the truth today.
Nicely done by the jungle player.
This is so ridiculous. I can't believe they turned that, and now it's a 3v3. All they have to do is hold on again and make sure this Darkslayer isn't taken by GeO.
GeO, though, do have their eye towards it. It'll be Elwind, Meggy, and Smith. Well, this is a very spiky bush indeed.
MixRJ smartly going forward to check.
Oh, but it's Fusion who finds the bush first. There's the full combo. He's got the stun for Blaze Splits. Can it get him free? Yes, it can!
Oh my goodness, I can't believe he's able to get out of there all by his lonesome. So much damage coming in, but he's able to survive through it all.
And now the rest of his team starts to poke forward.
Can they do this though? The nice thing is there's no pandas waiting in the bushes this time, so they should feel a little bit safer, but they need to make sure that these team fights, these crazy flanks don't happen again.
Look at Padaria being so smart here. The second they see Lycan on a map, they send somebody to check on him.
Yeah,
Padaria will make sure he knows where that panda is, because losing sight of him could lose them the entire game.
Right, and Padaria knows he can take on multiple members, so he can just push out and make sure that no one's doing anything cheeky.
But he'll get cheekied upon as the whole team comes through from the bush.
Oh,
he lands the Agnes Grasp. Actually, Mengi in a lot of trouble. There's the Riki shot, though. Scooped and flipped back in. Fusion and the rest of INTZ take advantage to focus the Dark Slayer. White considers trying to steal it, thinks better of the option. GeO will respond by grabbing the enraged Abyssal, and they've got Wave crashing against the tower in mid. This is a net gain for GeO.
This is so dangerous for both sides. One down on INTZ, but they
Don't
can't
do this to me, Lycan.
Oh,
he misses! He misses his Skyfall!
oh my goodness. By the way, as we see Lycan go, this is so poetic. Who gets the team fight buff? GeO. Who gets the macro buff? INTZ. This is just so perfect, TJ.
Both teams playing to their strengths with the buffs. Now, the only question is if they can engineer situations that play to the buffs and their strengths. Lycan struggling to do so, but he might have created still an opportunity as the Ring of the Fiends popped. Elwin comes through. Mixer J's called out. He's going to be burned down, scooped back in. Wild Stomp. He can't escape. He will fall. Now the Wild Prison. Horus has to flicker to escape, meaning that ability is not active as the waves begin to crash, especially towards that bottom lane.
That was so scary. That was almost the game-winning play there for Elwin.
Drake has been summoned. That'll be in mid, buying a little bit of a reprieve. It's GeO begin to wash up, but the tower's gone. High ground's exposed now in 2 lanes for INTZ.
They have the clear, though, with Horus and Mudinho.
And Elwind in mid as well. They'll get that Drake easy.
Yeah, they absolutely do, but they're pushing on to this high ground tower.
Elwind is nearby alongside Smith, but they don't go for the fight. Not yet.
Yeah, Mixer J up in 13 seconds. Will they push in? Looks like they're not.
Not taking advantage of the player advantage and the buff advantage. That's a little bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to do this. We've seen this weakness from GeO in the past. They want to fight throughout the game, except when it comes down to taking towers.
And because of their passive playing now, they've lost the opportunity to leverage their buff. They exposed the high ground, but will go no further. Now INTZ want a piece of the action. They'll dive in. White and Smith are caught out. White will choose to brawl, but he's pulled in by the Agnes Grasp. That's too far, even for him. Smith, don't try and save him. He'll either get out on his own or be a lost cause. As is, he survives. And tower falls. White now engages. Pulled in. He survives anyway. It takes the bracelets to kill him at the high ground. GeO get it in the meantime. They'll now bail using the Ring of the Fiend for a quick escape.
Well, that's one way to dive a tower. You dive one tower, your rest of the team gets the other one? I'm so confused, CJ, but they got a high ground tower for a death. That is worth.
But they are down a player, and Wave is coming through mid.
But if INTZ can't make something happen off of this 5v4, then it's definitely a win here for GeO.
INTZ will have their opportunity to do so. One little siege minion that could. Crashing against the mid tower. Elwin's there, Lycan on the flank. This could get dangerous for INTZ as the respawn comes through shortly.
Especially because it's a 4v4 right now. We see Padari in the bottom continuing to push that lane by herself.
Elwin's here just to get wave clear. They know they're not under threat so long as they remain in control of the waves.
It's time for the Blade of Eternity count. It's been picked up here by Mudinho. Also has the Desticle with her last item. So it's going to be very difficult for Lycan to take her out. And that's going to be a situation where these teamfights start to flip in INTZ's favor.
How do GeO win these team fights then?
They just need to full commit onto the backline and just make sure that they kill them dead through all of the revives.
As opposed to killing them and then they're back alive, which is a genuine problem.
Right, and they just hope that their own revives allow them to do so, because you see on the side of Lycan, he has his own Blade of Eternity. The thing is, you can't really engage on a Wonder Woman or a Roxy or a Mina, because they're going to stay alive way too long.
Okay, so GeO right now have Lycan clearing wave, and they were considering sending the rest of the team on a split push mission. Lycan then came forward, gave them vision, said actually there's a lot of people here, and the full recall comes through. GeO on a base defense. INTZ respond to the full recall by going back to wave pushing.
Right, GeO were unable to take a fight there. There wasn't really going to be a great flank coming in from those members, so they said, well, we'll go back, we'll reset, we'll just kind of defend here. And now we're coming up on the next objective, TJ. This could decide the game. There's double objectives coming up. Dark Slayer and Rage Abyssal Dragon.
20-minute mark, though. That means any gold lead is gone. What matters now is towers, and GeO are in control of those.
They absolutely do. That top lane's going to continue to push in, and that means they can set up bush parties like this one in the mid lane.
That's what they will. Elwin through. Mixer J. Not a worthy target at this point, given his high HP. They just won't even bother.
Right, but that was a bit of a mistake showing themselves there.
Yeah, Elwind will pay for it. He spends the Wild Prison just for a disengage. Does grab two. Do GeO go off this? They do. Diving Medinho. White deep into the backlines. Will get Dark Dominion, but he might have had an opportunity for the rest of the team. Smith's called out. Fusion through the side. White and Smith are very low. Smith will go down. Blade of Eternity takes him back. No permanent deaths yet. Padaria and Mixer J still in a lot of trouble as Lycan goes through into Horus. Medinho's gone. Lycan loses to Horus though. Lycan will be back thanks to his Blade of Eternity, but GeO do not get the dominant lead they were hoping for.
They do get Medinho though. That's a huge deal. Lycan when he didn't get Horus, but he did get Medinho.
Fusion back in though, does grab Elwind. Lycan wants Horus. He's got him all the way through, sliding past the players. Elwind distracted. Mixer J tries to pull it back in, but the rest of the team is now here. Fusion is in big trouble as Smith jives through. It will be Mixer J, the only player to survive from that, and Padaria just lost most of his HP defending the lane against Mega. That is okay, provided GeO do something with this wave lead.
Oh my goodness, Padaria needs to be a hero once more here. Can he fight 4?
Elwind pulled through, Lycan goes in, they've got the HP, they will survive for so long. Padaria's brawling in the midst of it all, and he's got them all low, but he can't finish any of it. I don't think it matters though, because Medinho's back, and GeO don't have the HP to take a major objective. They've got nothing from these teamfight wins.
It is enough. Padaria sacrifices his life. It won't be on the score other than some hero damage done, but he saved this game.
Now GeO must turn this into a Dark Slayer, or all of that was for naught.
And you see Mixer J already checking for that. Check the Enraged Abyssal Dragon. Unfortunately, he can't be in 2 places at once, and that means White's going to take advantage.
White soloing down the Dark Slayer for now. The rest of the team will arrive.
Looks like there's not going to be any sort of contest here from INTZ. They're going to go ahead and take their own Enraged Abyssal, but they're afraid of the bushes. This is the fear that GeO puts into you because of their hyper-aggressive play.
They see faces in all the shrubbery, and they're beginning to grow wary. They do not get the Enraged Abyssal. There is the Dark Slayer against them.
Right, and this is the pressure that GeO is pushing on to INTZ, because INTZ didn't even want to go for the Abyssal. They just said, you know what, we're a little bit wary of this. We're going to go ahead and just continue to push out these waves. That means GeO might get both, or their own Bush Party.
If GeO go for the double buff, INTZ can badly punish it. If they wait for the middle of this team fight, then spring out, but GeO are being smart. They only send White for now. The second they spot all of INTZ challenging that wave, then they commit to it, because they know INTZ are otherwise occupied. They will get double buffed. They're swole.
Padaria needed to get there sooner. Padaria, I like the split push. I like the focus on macro, but in these sort of situations, you need to clear and you need to join with the team once more, because they need to start to contest these fights.
Daniel, is this game?
I think it is. I think they're going to push in. As long as GeO play this smart, as long as GeO play aggressively like they should be able to push in. That said, there's been really good defensive play coming out here from INTZ thus far.
Describe the perfect team fight. How do INTZ hold?
INTZ, what they really want to have is GeO just wash up onto them as a 5-man team. Then they can use their HP bars to just burn through them with Horus and Medinho with the damage from the backline.
First wave will crash in mid, a little bit of chip damage, but INTZ holds strong for now. The Drake is encroaching up top, and they've got wave pressing down bottom as well.
Yeah, strangely enough, even though GeO love their 5v5s, they need to split up here. They need to make sure they take isolated fights and get those picks so they can push onto these towers.
They've got Drake continuing to work away. INTZ must defend against it, and that means these towers really ought to fall. Here comes the mid wave. This should be the focus. Horus, a little bit too far forward. Scoop forward, does get Smith low. Horus has to bail. Mixer J takes his place in the front line. Lycan will dive in. Medinho's down. He's got Blade of Eternity. He'll be back up. Oh, it's a double kill. Medinho and Horus, both off the cards. Great work from Lycan. He'll pull himself. Bumpy back with Blade of Eternity in just a second. And the core is already at half HP. While Lycan tries to hold the front lines, he will finally fall. But that means the towers are up for grabs. And it will be 2 high grounds fallen.
Lycan was in the backline the entire time trying to take down the core. That's why they're so split up.
And now INTZ can't brawl for this final high ground, having removed Lycan, but it's not enough. The Drake is just whittling away the team fight. It doesn't matter. Fusion just taps on the core, and it will be game number 2 to GeO Esports in a 24-minute brawl.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe GeO even finished it off in that way. In the end, it wasn't even their team fights, it was the Drake that finished them off. Who would have thought from GeO of all teams that would have happened?